How do I see the earth? Is it beautiful, ugly, or somewhere in between? I would say that about 80% of the time, I definitely think it is beautiful in all ways. And there's some times where I think it's ugly just because of how we've messed it up. Like humans is what I mean when I say we, not just because it's ugly. Feel joy or sorrow, pain or pleasure about animals or sunsets or white-capped waves. I feel joy and pleasure, again, like 80% of the time, because they are beautiful things to look at, beautiful natural things to just think about. And when I think about how these things are just so beautiful, it makes me happy. And sometimes I feel sorrow and pain just because I know that with the way things are going now, there's no telling how long these things will still be here. How, talking about animals mainly, how their living conditions will be in the next few years. Do you understand the natural world and how its components are related, or are its ways foreign? I feel like I like to think that I understand, but I don't think I actually do. I don't think I understand all of it at all. Do you love the earth or do you feel alien from it? I kind of, now that I'm older, I do kind of feel alien from it, just because when I was younger, I was outside every day after school until the streetlights came on, and then I had to go inside, and I was always climbing a tree or figuring out what plant was coming out of the ground or something. But now I'm older, I have school, I have a job, I play volleyball pretty much every other day during the week, so I don't really make time to go outside anymore unless I'm walking my dogs or something like that. Do you care for its well-being, feel for its suffering, want to heal its wounds, or does thinking about the earth in such terms seem inaccurate or far-fetched? I do want to heal its wounds because I want my kids to have the experience that I did growing up with being outside until they couldn't anymore, and climbing trees and figuring out what plants were and what their purpose was and everything. So I want to make it better. I want it to be how it was when I was younger, or even better than that. And I think sometimes it does sound far-fetched just because there's so much damage already done. And sometimes I just feel like, well, what can I really do at this point? I mean, a lot of the damage seems irreversible, but I keep doing small things whenever I can, whether it's picking up trash or donating to people who will in other parts of the world, cleaning up the beaches and things like that. Okay, first step 2. My most significant experience of nature, one that will stand out in memory. There was one actually last year. I had a volleyball tournament in Orlando, Florida. It was very nice out. It was a beautiful day. There was not really a cloud in the sky. It was very warm. We went to Disney Springs and we were in some of the shops, and after that we were walking around trying to find somewhere to eat, and I was just sitting, I think it was on like a fountain outside of a shop, and I was just looking around. And when I really sat there and I wasn't listening to everybody around me walking and doing everything that they were doing, I could hear the birds chirping or some of the leaves moving in the slight breeze, and just looking at the sun and how other people are reacting to it, like with their sunglasses on, things like that. It was a moment where I stopped for a second and really looked at what was happening around me outside, rather than just, I don't want to say being in the moment, but being in the moment while not paying attention to what's around me. How has your relationship with the earth been affected by your family history? Did your family go on camping trips? Did your family hunt? My family, we never did camping trips or anything. We traveled to different places a lot when I was younger because my sister played travel basketball, so we were somewhere new almost every weekend. And we also, used to take family trips for spring break to Pennsylvania, so I was there quite often. My dad did teach me how to care for the earth when I was pretty young, and even still now. He had a garden in our backyard, and I remember still don't really like tomatoes, but for some reason, whenever he grew them himself, I would just eat them like they were candy. I just always told him that they tasted better than they did when he brought them from the store. So that definitely had an impact on how I feel, why I enjoy being outside so much, and why I care so much about how the earth is changing nowadays. Has there been a book, movie, song, or course you have taken that has affected deeply how you think about the earth? Has religion played a role, positive or negative, in how you experience your relationship with earth? No, I don't really have a book, movie, or song that has deeply affected how I think about earth, but religion, I would say, has played some sort of role, because me being a Christian, talking about God and preserving the earth and things like that are a big part of me and what I believe in. So yes, it has had a positive experience on how my relationship with earth is. And some of the most significant economic, social, cultural, or political developments that have affected how you experience the earth. The thing I can think of is when I'm out driving now, I always see some type of construction going on where there used to be just a plot of land and trees, and it makes me think of the Lorax, actually, how they're just cutting down all the trees to build new apartments, new houses, and everything. And I know that with the population growing, there has to be houses for people to live in, but it is sad to think about sometimes. It hasn't had a direct effect on how I experience the earth, because it's not like I've had any land that my parents own be built on or anything, but it is sad to see sometimes. So for step 3, why more than anything else have you come to value the earth as you do? I have come to value the earth as I do now because of how I was when I grew up, how I mentioned before that I would want to stay outside all day until my parents would make me come in, and I would be out with all of my friends, and we would ride our bikes or walk to the park and be around the lake and other areas. And it created memories that I would never forget. It helped me create friends that I'll never lose. And also, when I talked about how my dad had a garden in our backyard, I helped him with it as much as I could, and he grew some of everything. He had tomatoes, cucumbers, squash, things like that, and it was very intriguing to me when I was younger. It still is now, but of course, when I was younger, I didn't understand things as much. So it was kind of magical for me to see these things appearing out of the ground when I didn't understand how it worked. And even as I'm older now, I still do value the earth just as much, if not more, because it gave me so much when I was younger. And so now I need to give back to the earth just as it did to me. Me just being one person out of everybody on the whole planet, there's only but so much I can do. But every time I do something, I feel like, okay, we're a little bit closer to reversing some of the damage that has been done. And I feel like a lot of the times the earth thanks me for that. And that makes me feel better about it. And so I do believe that I'll always value earth, and my value for earth will probably continue to grow as I get older, especially when I do end up having kids, because I want them to be out in nature a lot. I want them to experience camping because I didn't until I was older. I never went with my family. I went with a friend at one point, and it was a really fun experience. So I want my kids to have that. I want the earth to still be how it is, if not better, whenever that time comes. I don't really have a specific reason to, like, one good reason why I've come to value the earth as I do, but if I had to sum it up, I would say because the earth gave me so much and is still continuing to give me so much. So I feel the need and the want to give back to the earth as well.